Today on People with Passion for Pets, we talk to Julie Montilla, the owner of Ace Agility. Julie used her love for dogs and her passion for dog sports to create a new indoor agility center here in Phoenix, Arizona. So, hello, Julie.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today. So, Julie, you just opened a indoor agility center here in Phoenix called Ace Agility.
I did.
And we are excited to hear more about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to tell you guys all about it.
So maybe let's start out by talking a little bit about agility. Some of our viewers may not be familiar with the sport. Can you maybe just kind of describe a little bit what it is?
So agility is a dog sport that the dogs learn all kinds of obstacles like an A-frame, a dog walk. They go through a tunnel, they do a teeter, which when we were kids, they called a seesaw, and they go over jumps. And the thing about it is, it's not just all of these obstacles, they actually have to do it in a numbered course. So our job is to support our dogs and guide them through that numbered course.
So when you do the agility course, is it a specific course, or can you just mix and match to what works for what you're looking for?
So you can mix and match when you're learning it. However, the end goal is to do a mapped course. It's to complete that course. And that's the whole thing about these courses is they're never the same. So like if you play agility up until you want to go to a trial, in those trials, the judges set up the courses and you look at a map and you get to walk it, and then you have to take your dog on that numbered course.
So do you get a little heads up before the course goes? So if you're looking for a competition in Flagstaff or something, you'll get a map before you go up there and go, okay, this is what we have to practice.
No.
No. Wait a minute.
No, there is no, it's the day of the trial you get to see. However, they are in broken down levels. So you start with a level 1 that's for beginners, and then you work your way up to the more difficult courses. And like, for instance, the most difficult obstacles are historically the weave poles, where the dogs have to weave between the poles, and the teeter. Those are the two hardest. So you can find courses to run with your dog that don't involve those. Like if you run the venue that's called NADAC, they have courses that are called tunnelers, and all it is just tunnels. It's a whole bunch of tunnels out there that you have to take in a particular order, so you can have fun with your dog before they learn those more difficult obstacles.
But so obstacles are sort of standard, meaning there are, certain obstacles that you can expect to have to do.
That is correct. Most of the obstacles are shared within the venues. However, there's some venues that have obstacles that no other venue has. Like for instance, like I was talking about the NADAC, they're the only ones that have what we call hoopers. And it's literally a flat, like a jump that's flat with like a hula hoop over the top of it that the dogs run through. So that way, that's good for your older dogs, so they don't have to jump over jumps. It's low impact. Only thing is they go really, really fast.
Is there a number of different jumps and stuff that you go through? So, okay, the industry has 27 different jumps, and you can practice as you get better at it, or is it you never really know? Somebody might invent a new obstacle.
So they're always improving, I would say, obstacles. Like for instance, have you guys seen the tire that the dogs have to jump through? Well, a lot of dogs were like hitting it with their middles and kind of falling through it. So what they did was they started with a breakaway. So a tire that would break away so that if they did hit it, they could just go through it. So these things are always changing and improving. And like in the olden days, I'll say the olden days, a few years back, they had what was called a chute. And it was basically a closed tunnel. So the dog goes through what looks like an opening to a barrel, and the tunnel was collapsed, and the dogs run through it. They don't even have that anymore. because dogs were getting tangled up in it. So they voted it out of all of the circuits. Nobody uses that anymore. So they're always improving things, always improving them. Anything that they see that the dogs are getting hurt, they're improving them, which I think is awesome. So they're not particularly adding a bunch, but what they have, they tend to change to make it safer.
And I'm assuming because it is such a popular dog sport, it sounds like there's like a governing organization or some oversight from certain, you called it the circuit. So obviously there's an organization behind all of it.
Yeah, and there's several what we call venues. So in other words, AKC has agility. So that goes by all of their rules, all their guidelines, all of the equipment has to be to their standards. And there's CPE, which is canine performance events. There's NADAC. There's all different venues for agility. And each one has their governing, their rules and their guidelines. Yeah.
It's neat. So how long have you been doing agility?
I dreaded this question. I dreaded it because I have to say
a long time. That's fine.
Long time. This is actually my 40th year.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
Isn't it? So the only reason I brag about that is because back when I started dog training many eons ago, I wanted to play with dogs. I didn't have my own and I just wanted to play. Well, back then they were really into punishment training and I just couldn't buy into it. So I quickly diverted to agility because back then that was the only sport that I could see that I could find back then that didn't use punishment training. But boy, training has changed, even in agility. It's really, really changed. Our first way that we used to teach the teeter was to get our dogs used to being hugged from the side, and we would walk them up the teeter, supporting them like that. We no longer do that. That's silly. It's nice to see all of the changes, but historically, you will not see punishment training in agility. Not like hunting dogs historically use an e-collar. Some of the stricter obedience ones, some of them are still using e-collars, but we don't do any of that in agility. It's all fun. It's just fun stuff.
That's exactly right, because it is fun. If it's not fun for the dog, why do they want to do it? I mean, there should be 15 tons of cookies and treats and all kinds of stuff around because it's fun for everybody.
Yes. And you're exactly right. What you're saying, that it's fun for everybody. A lot of people, when they start agility with their dogs, it's because they want their dog to have something fun to do, but they in reality get addicted to it. Because they really are a huge part of that picture. I mean, it's actually a team. The dog doesn't just get to go out there and run amok unless you can get them to read the numbers on the obstacles. They can't. Otherwise, the dogs would just do tunnel, 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 because that's their favorite. So we, the people, are a huge part of that team, and they really become addicted to it. And it's nice because when the people become addicted, they're the ones that actually have the money and the computer knowledge to sign them up for classes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's so exactly.
And so you made some really good points. So agility, and we, on our show, we had a couple of other dog sports, and I think agility is probably the one where the handler, it also gets the best workout, right?
Yes, they do. Especially the faster your dog is. The faster your dog is, the more you have to move. And a lot of people will start at, and I don't know why, historically, it's the Aussie. I guess it's because they're little Velcro-y dogs. And they'll say, Julie, why is my Aussie so slow? So I tell them to race their dog to a point, and their dog runs really fast. That's the key. You move faster, your dog moves faster.
Very cute.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It is really cool, though, to watch agility, because you see the people, all shapes and sizes and types, and their energy is fun. I mean, no matter how big or small they are, their whole energy is the same, and it's fun. And the dog sees it's fun, and the people, it's fun. And it's just really good energy in an agility sport. Yes,
I agree. And I think when you mention other dog sports, the thing about agility is that a lot of the skills that you get in agility transfer to other sports. So like, for instance, they learn body awareness. Body awareness is huge because if you can imagine, you have a ramp that goes up and across and down, and the dog has to navigate that. If they don't have body awareness, in other words, their back legs, the back legs are going to drop off. So in the foundation skills, we do a lot of that body awareness so that they learn that they have back legs so that they don't do that. That body awareness that they gain from agility, when they go to do things like the disc dog, they're a less likelihood of being injured. The first week, I tell them their homework is to make their next walk an adventure walk. Look for things for your dogs to jump on, to go around, things like a big rock, get them to jump on it. Find a picnic bench, get them to walk across it, things like that, that they actually are gaining confidence and they're learning about their body. They're learning how their body works, especially those back legs.
It
makes
really
a
does
lot of
make
sense.
sense. It really
Yes.
does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your new center. So what I'm excited about is it's indoors.
Yay
Which
for
is
Arizona.
awesome.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
It is indoors, which is critical for Arizona because the summers here are just brutal.
Yeah. So tell us where you're at and where people can find you, and then tell us a little bit about the center.
So I just know it's over there.
Okay.
It's over there.
I'll make sure I'll share your address
Yes.
in the
Do
description
that. I
below.
do know that it's like I go on Interstate 10.
That's perfect. So you obviously are then this a perfect spot for people that want to start the sport, because obviously there's going to be a lot of people that are like, what do I start? How do I train my dog? So that is what you are wanting to do in your center, correct?
Yes, that is correct. It's all about, to me, it's all about those foundations. I mean, those obstacles, everybody wants to get to those obstacles. However, it's the foundation skills that make those obstacles safe. Everything that you learn that puts your dog in the air, a dog walk, a teeter, anything that puts them in the air, you want to practice skills on the flat, which is what we call flat work. You want to practice it there so there's no accidents up in the air.
And that makes a really good point, right? If the dog panics or doesn't like a board or something like that and they jump off,
Yes.
oh my, it's 2 inches.
Yes. And I do, even for the dog walk, we actually put a plank on the floor and let them run across that plank. And if you see any time those feet are dropping off of that, you know they're not ready to go up into the air. And that's what we don't want. We don't want people going, I have my dog up in the air, because then when they start to hesitate, their dog hesitates.
Yeah.
We want them just to run across it confidently and the people to feel confident in their dogs as well.
Yeah, it's funny, a few years back, we had to get a ramp for one of our dogs to be able to get in and out of the car because he was becoming a senior dog. And that's what we did. We just put it on the floor, rather than just
Right.
trying to get him up right away. We just put it on the floor until he was comfortable with it. And then we put it up a little bit and then, eventually up to the car.
You was actually teaching him agility and didn't even know it. But funny, because my dogs, because they do agility, I have no problems if I was to use a ramp like after a surgery or to get them into a wash tub. Oh, they see a ramp, they just climb up it, no problem. So it does help with those other little things you wouldn't even think about.
Yeah, day-to-day things that they need. Yeah. How about your dogs? Tell us a little bit about what kind of dogs you have.
Well, my dogs, again, when I started in agility, I didn't have any dogs that I brought home and fed and supported. The lady that I trained under, she had border collies. So, historically, border collies used to own this sport. It's really quickly changing. Lots of other dogs are coming in and showing their stuff. But so she had border collies that I was running. So I felt like they were my dogs, but I didn't have to feed them or clean up their poop or any of that stuff. So I took 6 of her dogs actually to World, which was beyond phenomenal. So then my first dog was in 2019 and his name was Ace. Can you imagine how I named my business? But so he actually qualified for World the year that he passed, and he was a Bernese Mountain Dog.
Oh,
which
awesome.
Bernese Mountain Dogs historically don't do agility, but he was a madman. He loved agility and he was so fast. He was so much fun, so much fun. He was so much fun. I got a second Bernese Mountain Dog, but since those two have passed, my current dogs are, I have a Bernese Mountain Dog. I have a Bernese Mountain Dog named Chance that he's actually a certified search and rescue dog. He does agility, but he's a goofball. So, like for instance, when typical dogs do the weed pulls, they go wham, 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 wham. He does this. Hi, like he's like just there to entertain people. So he doesn't compete in agility, but it's definitely been good for him for body awareness, for confidence, dog behaviors, all of that stuff. It benefits all. Then I decided I wanted to run a golden. I wanted to run a golden retriever in agility. One of my idols has a golden, so I got a golden. However, I admittedly got a lemon. She is so broken. At 4 months old, she had her shoulders done.
Aw.
Then she had an emergency on her female stuff. So she's just now getting out of rehab. So she's actually just now starting agility foundations. And I'm telling you, agility foundations is what it's all about. As far as her rehab, it sped things up so that I don't have to spend so much on her hydrotherapy and all of those things because of the things that I can do in agility. It's pretty crazy. But look for her. She'll be out there soon.
That's awesome.
Well, let's talk about the benefits of doing agility, but getting them to do something, especially agility, really helps with behavior issues, and it just gets people outside. And how do you see that when a new person comes in with some behavior problems, maybe?
A lot of people say, oh, I'm connected with my dog. We have a bond, but you know what? Nothing like when you go to agility, nothing like it, because your dog looks to you for literally everything to do. All of their instruction in agility comes from you. The mental stimulation that you get, which is really, really good for naughty dogs, right? Not just physical, but mental, because all of these obstacles, again, they're not just obstacles that they just get to go hit them, they have to do them correctly. So like you said, the dog behaviors, think about it. So something like what they call, I just call it the table. Some people call it the pause table. And what it is a big table that the dogs have to go to. They have to lie down on it for the judge to count to the count of 5. So they have to be there in a down while the judge says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. So imagine what your dog is practicing. First off, it's that impulse control. The other is they're practicing their stay and waiting for their mom or dad to release them, which that's huge. It's huge. So even how to start out in agility, they start out at the start line. We want to be able to sit our dogs and be able to get a head start because our dogs are really fast. So if we can get our dogs in a sit stay while we go get a head start and then we tell them when to start, yay, we're like that much farther ahead of them. So for instance, the A-frame, the dog walk, even the teeter all have, do you see how they're painted different colors? Have you ever noticed that?
No,
they're like
actually.
half yellow and half blue. Well, you'll see in some pictures that I'll send to you. They're half and half like that because the bottom part is the contact point. Your dog has to hit at least 1 foot in that contact point for it to be marked. Otherwise, it's an NQ, which is a no qualify. They can't just get on and jump into the blue. They have to go into the contact part on the on part and the off part. So they have to learn this correctly. The teeter is critical for the contact because if they was to go running on the teeter and it's pointed up and they just jump off, they can actually get hurt. They have to get on that teeter and ride it until it hits the ground before they can get off. How amazing is that? But all of these mental skills, these dogs, they normally go to sleep in the car on the way home. They're like passed out, tired. Yeah.
that is pretty funny, because when we do the training, we try to explain the mental stimulation, and it's, people think they need to run their dogs 50 miles. Like, well, all you're doing is teaching your dog to run 50 miles, work the brain, and the dog will nap all day. And that's,
Exactly.
mental stimulation is so important.
Exactly. And this, you get both. How much better can you get than that? You get both of it in one day.
And you
In
get
1
the
hour.
physical exertion for the human too. So the human gets
Mhm.
outside, they get to build that bond, because that's exactly right. You build a bond, and the dog relies on you to look at you and say, what do I do next? Instead of, okay,
Right.
we're buddies, but nobody listens to anybody. So they really rely on that. That's so
We
cool.
get, and we're getting that mental and physical as well. We're getting the mental because we do have to, well, and actually funny because they have this little study that they're working on right now that they're proving historically more women do agility than men. I don't know why. I guess it's just because they're like the nurturers, like of the kids. So now they've taken over with the dogs. So there have these studies that are proving that women have less likeliness or less incidence of Alzheimer's
Oh, wow.
that do agility with their dogs because they have to actually learn those maps.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can learn that map and memorize it, you're keeping your brain just like a crossword puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
That is
Makes
amazing.
so
perfect
cool.
sense. That is amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Now, so again, for our viewers that want to come and check out agility, is it like a weekly class that you offer, or how does it work?
So the way that it starts is typically they start in an introduction to agility class, and that is a 4-week. It's a 4 1-hour sessions. So like if you sign up for a Sunday at 11, it'll be Sunday at 11 for 4 weeks in a row. Yeah,
Okay.
1 whole hour. Everybody leaves exhausted.
And is it, are your classes scheduled throughout the day, or do you offer different times? How does it work?
So far right now, because I'm new, we have classes just on Saturday and Sunday, and then we have one starting on Wednesday night in March. As those start to fill and we get more people coming in, we'll offer more and more classes. But what we do in class really and truly starting day one is we add value to you and the obstacles. Because the hardest part about agility, believe it or not, is not learning the obstacles. That's the fun stuff. The hard part is it's not always their turn. And they don't like that. So
Very
I
cool.
start them. Yeah, I start them. Everybody has a station. So it's a table or a cot, something that they go to when it's not their turn. And week one, all the dogs are a mess. It's just typical. There's dogs in the classroom. There's other dogs I want to greet. I like that lady over there. I like her hot dogs. So that's the way to, but they keep doing that. And by the second week, the dogs have settled in. By week 3, all of the dogs that are on the stations are sitting properly, waiting their turns. By week 4, we're dropping the leashes and the dogs are staying with their people on those stations until it's their turn. It's pretty crazy.
Is agility something that any dog can do, or are there certain requirements?
So I like to say any breed of dog can do it. Not any dog, certainly because of physical limitations. I have had tripods in class and they do perfectly fine. However, if your dog is overweight, that's definitely something you'll want to work on. And we can do that in agility class as well. We just don't want them jumping full jumps when they're carrying some extra weight. So it's something I can help with to get them on the right track. But even older dogs, yeah, even arthritic dogs. Again, remember the hoops, the tunnels, those are things all the dogs can do. And a lot of people think when they have arthritic dogs that their dogs don't want to move, but actually that movement is good for those joints. It's good to have them moving, not doing full big jumps, but all of these venues that I was talking about earlier, they all have a category for veterans, which could be the dog or the handler, which means the jumps get lowered, things like that, so that they accommodate that.
Well,
Yeah,
very cool.
I think
How
all
about
dogs can do it.
how about very young handlers? Do you have a lot of children that are in agility?
So Before I came to Phoenix, my last place that I had opened up, I actually had a junior handler class. And I haven't offered it here. However, I do have one junior handler right now in one of my classes. She's 15 and she is amazing. She's absolutely amazing with her dog. She has a little Aussie and they're doing incredible. So yes, I say not under 10.
Okay.
Kind of 10 is like that, but always with a parent there, of course. But also dependent upon the dog. If they have a dog that tends to be Velcro-y and does well with the kid, bring them in.
So is there some way that people could volunteer, maybe volunteer for you, to set up jumps or help travel or something like that? Is there an opportunity if somebody wants to say, what is this? I don't really know if
Oh
I'm
my
interested
goodness,
yet.
I would so love that. I would so love that if somebody was to come to me and say, hey, I would love to volunteer for your classes. I would love that. And when we talk about the trials that they have for the dogs, they're all dependent upon volunteers. So anybody that gets to that point where they think, oh, I might want to go to a trial with my dog. I might want to do that, but I'm way too nervous. That's the best thing to do is to go and volunteer. They have people from leash runners that take the leash from the start line to the finish line. They have people that are bar setters. That's not really tending a bar with alcohol. It's actually
Not on
when the
camera anyway,
height
right?
changes, right? When the height changes, like for the 8-inch dogs to the 12-inch to the 16, they reset those bars. And it's all volunteers, all. And they will take you. They don't care if you're competing with your dog or not. You raise your hand to volunteer and then yes, yes, yes. They'll give you free lunch a lot of the time. They'll give you free toys. I mean, fun stuff.
That's awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
assuming, of course, we have a lot of viewers that are not here in the Phoenix area, but if you just Google Agility Club, there's going to be all kinds of things coming up for, different areas, different states.
Oh, every state has them, I'm sure. Every state.
Excellent.
That's great. Anything else that you would like to go over, Julie? Are you running any types of specials right now, or
my gosh,
things that you want to encourage
specials.
people?
How did you know that? So I have 2 special, and keep in mind, my classes they're only $100. So really and truly, that's kind of hard to throw a rock at. That's kind of hard to say $100. I could swing $100. But right now, if you look me up on Facebook or my website, which is just aceandagility.com, I'm running 2 specials side by side, and one is for Goldens. Not if your dog is my dog is golden, which means they own a gold star. For golden for retrievers specifically, and for Doodles. And both of them, there's a discount code listed. Again, both places, Facebook and on my website, where you enter that, you get 20% off the intro to agility class, which equals $80 for a class to go and try it to see if your dog even likes it.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many Doodles out there right now. In fact, a lot of our customers, it's a really popular thing right now. So we'll certainly let them know about you. And again, for all of our viewers, we're going to be sharing your links in the description below the video, so they'll be able to find your website and your Facebook page.
Perfect. Yes, and I did find that seems to be the dog of Arizona, is the Doodle. It's pretty amazing how many there are.
Well, Julie, thank you so much. This has been just a great interview, and we've have so much great information that our viewers will enjoy. And
yes, thank you so much. It's been fun talking with you guys. You guys really get it. You really do get it.
Oh, thank you so much again.
Oh, thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the information. And until next time, keep your paws on the road.